Hi, my name is Bernhard Keller. I'm a German organizer, and we are very proud to invite Vishen Lakhiani to our German customers, to our German platform. Thank you, Vishen, for your time.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you're going to be bringing me to Munich to speak to your audience.
Yeah, and we are there on the 13th of September to the 1st of October, and we will deliver great content. It's about becoming limitless. And you are the founder and CEO of Mindvalley, a very, very successful company. You started from scratch and now you reached up to 100 million volume. You have about 10 million users in apps, using the online courses, using your user-generated content, everything. So thank you for giving us the possibility to invite you to Germany.
Thank you, Bernhard. I've always been a big fan of Germany. I went to Berlin last year to speak at an event called Tech Open Air, and I totally fell in love with Berlin. I fell in love with German culture, and so I know I'm going to have an incredible time speaking to your people.
Thank you, thank you. And I'm sure the Germans are very open for your work, and it's such a great content you have to deliver, and we are so happy.
Well, you know, it's funny because I'm an engineer. I don't just teach personal growth, but my training is in electrical engineering and computer science. So a lot of the stuff that I teach is very algorithmic. It's I guess you could call it computational thinking, right? Okay. The way I teach personal growth is very, very algorithmic, very science-based. And a lot of people tell me, you're so German in terms of how you teach. And so I think one of the reasons you said you wanted to bring me to Germany is because you felt my particular style would uniquely resonate with a German audience.
Definitely, definitely. This is the start for you to start in Germany. Yesterday I asked you, are you open to enter the German market? And I'm sure you will, and we will attract a lot of people there. And if you would distill Vishen Lakhiani, what is your essence? What are you standing for? What is the point you say, I'm here to achieve? What are your goals?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And I just want to say something first. You know, our company teaches everything in English. And so we have Mindvalley has a reach of around 10 million people globally through our various apps and our online platforms and our learning platforms. But one thing we found really, really interesting, our biggest countries were always English-speaking countries, America, Canada, the United Kingdom. And all of a sudden, we're noticing that our number 4 or number 5 biggest country is Germany. So I think when you pointed out to me when we were having drinks a couple of days ago in Barcelona that you think our style is uniquely suited for Germany, maybe that's the reason why. Anyway, I'm honored to have a German audience. And a funny thing about Mindvalley is when I started this company, my business partner was German. He was from Stuttgart.
Stuttgart, okay,
right.
Great. So it's not far away from Munich.
So that could be why Mindvalley has a bit of a Germanness towards it.
Vishen, your book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, which is a New York Times bestseller and sells very, very well, is now published in German. And since March 2017, congratulations to that.
Thank you.
And you called your book as a personal disruption book. What does it mean?
Okay, so in the book, I say this isn't a personal growth book, it's a personal disruption book. Now, the reason for that is sometimes to create the next great thing in your life, you have to disrupt existing models of thinking, right? Many people look at personal growth and they are building up based on a foundation that was installed in them from the schooling system. But what if that foundation was fundamentally flawed? See, humanity is going through an era of exponential technological change. If you think about it, by 2029, according to Ray Kurzweil, the director of engineering at Google, all of us will in our pocket have an artificial intelligence on our smartphone, sort of like Tony Stark's character in the movie Iron Man. He had this AI called Jarvis. He can ask Jarvis for anything and Jarvis can give him any question. All of us are going to have our own personal artificial intelligence in our cell phone. The world is going to be more connected than ever. With all of these emerging new technologies, a lot of the old rules of thinking are going to fundamentally change. Let me give you a couple of other examples, right? Many people say universal basic income is going to be a reality. Robots are going to start replacing jobs. Algorithms are going to start replacing jobs. 45% of the jobs out there in the world today are going to disappear in the next 10 years. So why personal disruption? Because many people are still setting goals based on an old world. We set goals to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, to be in marketing. What if these jobs don't exist 10 years from now? 10 years from now, what if our working hours go down, even below the French, to about 20 hours a week? What if universal basic income is a reality and everyone in Germany, everyone in the United States is earning a basic income of about $1,500 or euros a month? What would the world look like? So when I say personal disruption, what I'm talking about is teaching people to set goals, to set their vision for themselves, not based on the old rules, but based on where society is going to be. Because this way, you're going to prepare yourself better than everyone else, and you're going to prepare your children better than anyone else. Now, there are a number of different things which I ask people to look at. You got to understand that the world around you, in the words of Steve Jobs, and I quote this in the book, is made up of people no smarter than you. But we follow these rules blindly. Yet, the pace of science, the pace of research, the pace of technology is showing us that many of these rules no longer apply. Let me just rattle off a couple, right? College degrees. I know especially in Germany, people spend years of their life getting a college degree. What if this is no longer going to be necessary 5 years from now? Already, if you look at many companies, my company, even Google, 15% of their staff do not have a college degree. Second, let's look at our models for health, nutrition, and longevity. According to Singularity University, if you're 40 years old today, if you're 40, your lifespan is likely going to be 100 plus. And that is because medical science right now is adding 3 months to the average Western human being's lifespan for every year they live. And after 2030, it's going to be 1 year for every year you live. You do the math. If you're 40 today, you're going to live to be 100. But what will that life look like? Will you still have a youthful body, or will you be aged with back problems and have wrinkles and not have the energy to fully function? You look at health and fitness. So many things that we do right now for our health actually may be counter-effective for us. Jogging. Turns out, some science is now saying that jogging is not actually exercise. It wears you out as you get older. Aerobics, highly inefficient. Now you look at models for spirituality, whether it's organized religion or it's things such as 5-10-day meditation retreats. Many of those actually are highly ineffective. They are shorter, faster shortcuts to get you the brain states of enlightenment without having to spend years or months in a lotus position. What I do in this book is, without being emotionally attached to anything, to any dogma or any culture or anything that has existed thus far in society, I say, look, we're going to look at the facts, we're going to look at the science, and what I'm going to show you is the fastest ways to get to where you want to be. And to make sure that where you want to be, you're setting those goals based on where the world is going to be, and not some outdated idea of where the world was. So that's why this is a personal disruption book.
Your book is about how to change reality and how to get rid of old rules and you call them bullshit rules, or you call them rules. And do you know, or can you give a special hack how people can get over the old rules, get over the old belief systems?
Absolutely. So one of the most popular words in the book is the word brule, B-R-U-L-E, a brule. A brule is a bullshit rule that we adopt to simplify our understanding of the world. I gave a couple of examples earlier, right? Eat 3 meals a day and you'll be fine. Go to college, get married. All of these are rules that our society adopts because we hear about them from father to son, from father to son, from mother to daughter, to father to son. It goes down generationally. But again, in a world of crazy rapid change, many of these rules are no longer effective. So what I teach in this book is an understanding that the entire web of how we exist is based on our beliefs about the world. But our beliefs come from this thing called the culturescape. The culturescape is that tangled web of human rituals, human beliefs, human ideas. Your culturescape in Germany is overlapping certain aspects of the culturescape in the United States, overlapping certain aspects of the culturescape in, say, Turkey. But fundamentally, there are certain rules that human beings accept to be true. The problem is we blindly follow. Now, in the book, I state that there are 4 different stages of growth for a human being, right? So a stage 1, a level 1, is where most people in the world are today. At level 1, you believe the world happens to you. You blindly follow. If you're tough, if you're down on your luck, if things aren't working out, your natural tendency is to blame the world. Something bad happened. You got laid off. Someone broke your heart. Your back is no longer as strong as possible. That is level 1 thinking. That is where most people are. But at a certain point, certain groups of people, usually the people who start following personal growth, ascend to level 2. Level 2 is where you understand that all the rules of the world are not necessarily true and that you can question and change those rules. At level 2, you gain the ability to see that you can change things, you can shift things, you can set your own goals. And we teach techniques to basically set goals that come from within and not from what society says you need to do. So the goal setting technique that I teach in that book, it's called the 3 most important questions, is now being used by close to 1 million people worldwide. Teachers are teaching it in schools in India, in Mexico. It's been taught in universities. The American Management Association has shared this with its members, but that particular model teaches you to set goals away from the culturescape. So you end up with goals which are genuinely going to make you happy and not make your parents happy or your professors happy. That's level 2. Now the funny thing is, Bernhard, is that there's a level beyond level 2. After you get to level 2 and you start to see that you can set your own goals and these goals can come from within, something interesting happens to the human being. They get to what I call level 3. Level 3 is where you gain the desire to go within. You start understanding that there's an outer world. There's a world that is physical, which is like this glass. But there's also a world inside you. And you gain the ability to understand that you can build on consciousness. What this means is that you start exploring ideas of how your consciousness can influence yourself and the world. At level 3, people start exploring things such as thoughts creating reality, such as their mind slowing down their aging. They explore things such as mindfulness and meditation. That is the world of level 3. So again, I repeat, we as human beings live in multiple different ways of identifying with the world. Level 1 is the world happens to you. Level 2 is you can change the world, you can control your immediate environment. Level 3 is when you go into the world inside you. But there is a level 4. And the level 4 that we talk about in the book is when you understand that you and me and everyone else are all connected. And you awaken yourself to the idea that why you exist is to basically not just create a great life for yourself, but to push the human race forward. You learn the ability to use your ability to question the rules, to use your ability to go within and draw upon inner strength. And at level 4, you take that out to make a dent in the universe, to shift the world, to be an activist, to build a business, to create, to invent things that can push the human race forward. So that is the path of growth that we talk about in this book. And what the Code of the Extraordinary Mind is, it gives you 10 different laws. These laws must be experienced in order that wake you up to going from level 1 to 2 to 3 to finally to level 4. And at level 4, on the 10th law, is when I say someone has truly awakened themselves to an extraordinary life. So the book covers this in paper, and I hope the audience enjoys it. At the seminar that we are doing on September 30th in Munich, September 30th to October 1st, we apply this. So people actually go through this in 2 days in the seminar through guided exercises, working and thought models that I take people through to awaken them to all 10 laws and to get to level 4.
Now, let's guide you to the video, the 3 most important questions, where Vishen explained a lot about it. We recorded earlier this day.
So thank you, Bernhard, for giving me this opportunity. What I want to share with you is a very simple exercise that I developed that is being used around the world, and it's called the 3 most important questions. Now, the premise of the exercise is this. There's something fundamentally wrong with goal setting as we learn it in the Western world. And here's the reason why. Earlier, I spoke about this idea called the culturescape. In my book, I refer to the culturescape as this grand web of beliefs about how the world functions. Now, when we set goals, though, we're often setting goals not based on what our heart truly desires, but on how we've been trained to believe the world functions. For example, a young child may set a goal that he wants to graduate from high school because he knows that's what's going to make his parents proud, and then set a goal to get good grades so he can apply to get to a good college, set a goal to get good grades so he can apply to a good graduate school, maybe then apply for, if you're in America, for an LSAT exam so that you can be qualified to go and study law, get good grades as a lawyer so you can join a law firm. In the law firm, work crazy 100-hour weeks so you can be a partner, so that someday you can say, I made it. Now look at those goals. It's graduation, grades, get into a law firm, pass your LSAT, become partner. But if you look at the world today, and I'm speaking just from the American perspective, 50% of lawyers are clinically diagnosed as depressed. So how are we creating a world where these people are chasing these things, getting to a goal, chasing this their entire lives, only to end up in a career that makes them depressed? It's because the goal-setting formula is wrong. You're not setting goals that come from your heart. You're setting goals that come from the culturescape, from all of these things that your parents, your teachers, your media, your preachers, television tells you you should do. So how do we cut through all of those bullshit rules and go straight to what is truly going to make us happy? So the 3 most important questions is based on this idea. You must understand the difference between a means goal and an end goal. If your goal ends with, I want to do this so I can have that, that's a means goal. But end goals are very different. Let's look at the comparison, right? A means goal is, I want to buy that Mercedes-Benz. Why do you want to buy that Mercedes-Benz? Well, I want that Mercedes-Benz so I can feel special. That's a means goal. But an end goal is completely different in terms of the feeling. An end goal is, I want to have the experience of being able to raise a child because it gives me so much joy. I want to wake up next to the man or woman I love. I want to travel the world with my camera and take photography just because I love photography. I want to be able to someday speak on stage and inspire an audience because I want to be able to serve them. Those are end goals. Now, how do you differentiate between means goals and end goals? Well, you want to keep this in mind. End goals fall into 3 different buckets. Okay, so what I have people do when we do this exercise is, you take a piece of paper and you divide it into 3 columns. The first bucket is called experiences. I put a big E there, experiences. Now, when I'm doing this in a corporate setting, I set a timer for 3 minutes, and I have people then write down the experiences that they want to experience in their life before they die. Now, experiences are one of the core things that we crave as human beings, and all our end goals fall into 3 buckets. The first is experiences, the second is growth, the third is contribution. In a moment, I'll tell you how they all connect. But so what you want to do is set a timer. If you want to do this really fast, usually 80% of the core experiences that you want in life, you're going to come up with in those 3 minutes. You want to spend more time thinking it through? Sit down in a cafe, give yourself an hour, right? But experiences that you want typically are things that give you the feelings that you crave in life. They go straight to the heart of happiness. Raising a family, being married to an incredible spouse, having a beautiful home where when you wake up every morning, you feel so grateful to be alive, traveling around the world, the experience of starting a business and going through the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur, the experience of writing a book because you love expressing yourself, the experience of creating a work of art. All of these are experiences. Make a list. On your experience list, you might see things such as hike the Himalayas, travel to 50 countries before I die. These are experiences. Now, the problem is, most people confuse means goals and end goals. So their goals, most people are focused on title, money, position, career progression. But if you think about it, all of these things have a so attached to them. I want that title, so there's always something that you want to get from it. I want money, so what is that money going to give you? Go straight for the experiences. Now, the second question that you want to ask yourself is, to have these experiences, how do I have to grow? Look, if you want the experience of being able to have a beautiful luxury home in the Swiss Alps, you're going to have to grow yourself to be able to afford that. So your next question now is growth. But here, you want to make sure that you put down opportunities for growth where the journey of growth itself is going to keep you happy, right? So don't say, I need to learn engineering if you have no passion for it. We can make money no matter what we do when we are following our passion. When we are following our passion, when we are happy and joyful doing what we do, it's like the universe has our back and we unleash our superpowers. So write down the ways you want to grow, but keep in mind that growth is a goal in itself. Your goals for growth might be learn a new language, start a business so you can learn entrepreneurship. It might be to learn a particular form of programming because you are excited about creating some code in that language. It could be learning to cook. It could be learning to fly a plane. It could be anything that you want to learn for the sake of learning itself. Do not let money be a question. Do not think, I need to learn that so I can earn this much money so I can buy that house. Never think like that, because you go back to that common trap that so many people fall in, where they end up spending years of their life learning something they hate, so that because they think it's going to lead them to a job. I studied computer engineering for 5 years. I hated it because I wanted a good job. I got that job. I ended up being a programmer at Microsoft in 1998, when Microsoft was the company to work for. And you know what? In 11 weeks, I quit because I was miserable. But I spent 5 years learning something I had no passion for to get a job that I wanted to get because my society said I needed to be in engineering, only to find it was so miserable for me, I had to question my career and my life. So that second list is growth. That's the G. Now the third one is contribution. So here's something very interesting, right? I believe that we are souls having a human experience. And these souls crave experiences. They crave growth. But because we are all souls having a human experience, these souls also crave the desire to support each other. And as the Dalai Lama said, if you want to be happy, make someone happy. In this third column, what you're going to write down are how do you want to contribute to the world. You're going to ask yourself, look, if I'm the man or woman who has all of these experiences, who has grown in all of these levels, how can I now give back to the world? This is where you make your list for contribution. Your contribution can come from your career. It can be from a business you launch. It can be from something you create. It can be from volunteering your time. It can be from service. It could be from being the best mom or dad and raising these incredible kids. Make a list of how you want to contribute to the world. When you ask yourself these three questions, what experiences do I want in life? How do I want to grow? How do I want to contribute? You unshackle yourself from the bullshit rules that society says you need to follow, and you go straight to goals that truly, truly, truly connect to your heart. So I hope you enjoyed this exercise.
Vishen, my next question is, how could people treat with problems and with hard cases and with different circumstances which they can't change? How can they go over it, and how can they search for a solution for this?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So one of the things that I try to do in the book is give people a lot of different techniques and tools. Not all the techniques and tools are my own. The 3 most important questions exercise that you just experienced, I developed that. But in this book, because Mindvalley, my company, we are actually 10 different authors, world-class teachers. And we have 200 people building the apps and the technology for these world-class teachers. I'm able to draw upon wisdom from many of these other teachers. One of them is this remarkable man who is huge in the United States. His name is Reverend Michael Beckwith. And I don't know how popular he is in Germany, but in the US, he's very, very, very well known. Now, Reverend Michael Beckwith, who's one of the Mindvalley teachers who teach on our platforms and our apps, has a beautiful idea called Kensho and Satori. And it comes from Eastern philosophy. But this is basically it. And I'm going to show this graph on the screen so you guys get an idea of it. This graph is directly from the book. So Michael Beckwith says that as life unfolds for us, we will see moments of growth. And these moments of growth are moments where we shift. We no longer become the same person. But here's the thing. This moment of growth can come to you in two different ways. It can come to you through pain, or it can come to you through realization. Pain or realization. Now, moments that come to you through pain are called kensho moments. Here's how it works. You try to start a business, but something goes wrong and the business goes bankrupt. It is painful, but you learn from that. And you learn what not to do when you start your next business. Or you find yourself very sick and you are put in hospital and you spend 2 days in a hospital bed. And it's painful, but you learn from that. And you learn something about how to take better care of your health. Or someone breaks your heart and it's painful, but you learn from that. You learn what not to do and what you should do to have a healthy relationship. Kensho is growth through pain. But there is another form of growth, and it's growth through awakening. That is Satori. Satori is when you grow because you have a sudden realization. Now, when you're tapped in, when you are practicing mindfulness or meditation, when you're listening to your intuition, the universe or your higher self doesn't have to hit you through a kensho moment to help you grow. You grow through realization. The more in tune you are with yourself, the more your higher self can guide you through Satori moments or moments of awakening rather than, boom, moments of kensho. So if you look at this little chart, which I'm putting up on the screen right now, you can kind of see an example. What is a kensho moment? It's a dip. And what is a Satori moment? It's a curve, a gentle upward curve. You'll see that in this chart. So I always thought that this is one of the most powerful ideas I learned. And I'll tell you why. Because when you understand this, you can look back on the pain that you experience in life. And rather than approach it with regret, you can forgive those moments and see how those moments help you grow. And this idea also helps you understand why the journey that you take your people on through teaching them personal growth is so important. Because when people get in tune with themselves, they open themselves up to Satori moments. You have less pain in your life, but more awakenings.
So Vishen, we are very happy to welcome you in Germany. Is there something special which connects you to Germany, or is there, why you decided to come to Germany?
Well, other than the fact that it is happening very close to Oktoberfest, and Oktoberfest, if on my three most important questions, I think Experience Oktoberfest is one of the experiences I want, right? So that is great. Thank you for that. But the other reason why is I really am proud of what is happening in Germany right now. I'm more American than anything else. But if you look at what happened in the US got momentarily gripped by ethnocentrism. It's a very outdated, dangerous idea that a country or nationality needs to come together and cut itself off from the rest of the world. And that is what men like Donald Trump espouse. So while America, which is a massive country with so much space, turned down Syrian refugees, right? Germany opened its doors to save lives. And I know last year, a lot of us at a Mindvalley community were actually in Athens volunteering in refugee camps. And what we saw was so beautiful. These were such beautiful people. And I thought it was amazing that a country like Germany could do so much for people who were so in need. I was talking to a couple of friends recently, and we were even reading articles in the newspapers. And I think today, the leader of the Western world is the German people, is Angela Merkel, is the country of Germany. It is not the United States, it is not Britain. Those countries basically did the equivalent of, there's an American expression, shooting yourself in the foot. Mm-hmm. They basically shot themselves in the foot, and it wasn't their fault. Bad leadership emerged, and this leadership conned and lied to people to get votes. The leadership of Nigel Farage lied to the British people to get them to pull out of the EU. And you look at what has happened in Britain today, the parliament is hung. Donald Trump lied to the American people. If you actually look at the data from PolitiFact, which measures what candidates say, he had the biggest number of lies of all the other presidential candidates, yet he won. Because people could not distinguish between lies and the truth. And if you look at America today, the government is in total disarray. And that didn't happen in Germany. I'm so happy now in the French election, Macron won over Le Pen because these people, these German leaders like Angela Merkel, leaders like Macron are the future of Europe. They are the future of the world because they teach people that we can come together, that we can build things, we can connect, we can push the human race forward. And they inspire and they gain their votes through inspiration rather than fear. Fear is easy. And fear, unfortunately, is what gripped the people of the United Kingdom and the US. And I love those countries, and I know those people are going to rebound, but it is sad to see what happened, at least in the short term.
What is your idea for the workshop in Munich? What could people expect if they come to the first 2-day workshop you give?
Well, in this workshop, we're going to be covering a number of many different things. One of the first things that people are going to get is you're going to walk away with an entire roadmap for your life. You're going to be able to see your life in 12 different dimensions. And in each dimension, for example, your relationships, your fitness, your parenting, you're going to understand what are the outdated rules of society so you can discard them and not fall prey to them. And you're going to build bold new visions for yourself based on new rules, based on the new science, based on new ideas which are emerging. You're also then going to learn how to develop a daily practice for learning so that your mind is constantly growing. We're going to teach you that. You're going to learn an optimized form of meditation called the 6-phase meditation. And you're going to go deep into training in the 6th phase. And this meditation, this is amazing. It is not so much I pulled away from many meditation rituals which I believe came from the East, are 2,000 years old, but not backed by science. And what I did was I looked at all the proper techniques which are backed by science, and you learn how to apply this in your life. And the feeling you get from the 6th phase is amazing. So you're going to learn the 6th phase meditation. Now, this interesting thing about the 6th phase is you go deep into things which one may consider spiritual, manifesting, law of attraction, thoughts creating reality, but you approach it in a way that is very structured, very scientific, and you can see the results very fast. So when you come out of this event, not only are you gaining an entire roadmap for your life, not only are you learning how to put into play your daily rituals every single morning so you can be an optimized human being, but your thinking changed. Through another model I teach called consciousness engineering, you learn to apply a new way of understanding what's going on in your head to make yourself more resilient, more stress-free, to give yourself better emotional control, to pick up skills faster, to make yourself more effective in your job. But it all has to do with a way of understanding how your thoughts work. You see, if you think about mini personal growth, a lot of personal growth is like software. If you want to upgrade your computer, you download new software. What I teach is not that. What I teach is the operating system. It is upgrading your operating system. What this means is that your very fundamental sense of how you function in the world, of how you see yourself, gets an upgrade. And now every other personal growth thing you learn is another piece of software that comes on this upgraded machine. See, if you take the latest software and you try to install it on a Windows 95 machine, right? Or an Apple machine from 1998, it's not going to run. It's going to run slow. What you got to do is you got to upgrade the machinery. That's what we're doing. We are upgrading your entire self through this approach called consciousness engineering. It's an upgrade of your beliefs and it's an upgrade of your daily habits. When you do this, everything else you learn in personal growth, you have a platform to absorb it, to integrate it, and to apply it in your life. And I kid you not, it so increases your efficiency at everything else you learn. So, in a nutshell, it's about becoming an optimized human being.
Wow.
And I'll leave it as that because it goes very deep. Also, what people should know is that the way I teach is very intellectual. It's fun. I'm a former actor, so I love to bring theater and storytelling and jokes into my presentations. So it's fun, but it's very intellectual. And that's why I'm excited to bring it to Germany, because I know Germans are very intellectual, process-driven individuals. And I'm like that too, as an engineer, I guess.
We are very proud to have you there.
Thank you.
So, Vishen, finally, you're going to teach a manifestation technique?
Sure. Well, absolutely. So let me teach. So this is a video that I recorded earlier with Bernhard. Let's roll that clip. Okay, so Bernhard asked me to teach you something for manifesting. Now, whether you believe that manifesting is the act of the universe conspiring on your behalf to give you what you want, or just a way of conditioning your brain to be more focused towards your goal, this particular idea had a profound impact on me. And I've heard this from many different teachers, but the idea is basically this. A long time ago, there was this thing in personal growth called affirmations, where you would sit down and meditate and say, my life is so great. I am a millionaire. I have a perfectly healthy body. Even in the 80s, personal growth pioneers started to notice that affirmations didn't work. They were better than not telling yourself anything, but the problem is all of us have this voice in our head. When we say, I have a perfect body, that voice goes, no, you actually have some fat around your belly. You might want to get rid of that. We all have that voice. So how can we come up with a way where we can get the benefits of these so-called affirmations, but release that voice? The technique is called lofty questions. I learned it from one of my dear friends, the teacher, Christy Marie Sheldon, and I want to credit her for that. Lofty questions works like this. You ask yourself questions for states or feelings or things that you want to have in your life. So I ask myself the following questions. You can come up with these questions for yourself. I ask myself when I'm meditating, why am I so good at making, keeping, and multiplying money? I'm not saying, I'm a billionaire, because that voice is going to come in my head. Rather, I'm asking myself a question for a state I want to be in. I might ask myself a question, why do I have such a great relationship with my children? Why do I have such a great relationship with my wife? Why do I wake up every day feeling full of energy and positive about the day ahead? Why am I always surrounded by love? Why is the universe always unfolding for me in the most beautiful way? These are lofty questions. Now notice some of these questions are related to states, right? States of feelings. Why am I always surrounded by love? That's a state of feeling. Some of these questions are related to how I want to relate to other people. Why do I have such a great relationship with my children? But something powerful happens when you ask yourself these questions. I have a list of 12 questions that I ask myself every day in different categories. You can come up with your own list. But what goes on is that your brain starts assuming the state is true, and your brain starts answering the question on its own when you sleep at a subconscious level, and you start to find that the right answers start coming to you. You want to be a better parent? What you find is that you start picking up these tips. You start picking up this wisdom. Maybe you wake up one morning with a new realization on how to work with your kids. You start moving towards the end states of this question. It is crazy how effective this is. About 2 years ago, I started asking myself, why do I have such an amazing body? And back then I was 39 years old. I put on a little bit of weight around my belly. You know, I didn't feel proud of taking my shirt off at a beach, for example. And I felt like that for almost a decade. I tried exercising. I could never bring myself to go to the gym as regularly as I wanted. But I started asking myself that question, why do I have a great body? And amazing things started happening. I started meeting the right people, stumbling upon the right books. I discovered one guy, Eric Edmeades, who is now a guy I follow, who had developed a training program on weight loss. I went through his program, and for the first time in 10 years, I lost my excess weight. I then discovered another philosophy on building muscle. I went through that program. For the first time in 10 years, I actually started getting great results in the gym. 1 year from the time I started asking myself that question, I had lost 5 kilograms. My body had completely changed. I had to get many of my clothes redone because I had changed my body shape. And for the first time, I could walk on the beach, take off my shirt, and not feel embarrassed. When you ask yourself these questions, you do not have a particular set answer. But what happens is your brain starts working on overdrive to bring you the right synchronicities and opportunities and people. So think of 12 questions you can ask yourself. Think of your life in 12 different categories. Relationships maybe, health, your parenting, your career, your money, the environment you live in, perhaps adventure, your ability to travel and see the world. and ask yourself questions in these categories. Why is my love life so great? Why am I getting to travel so much? Why do I enjoy my work so much? Why do I have such a great relationship with my boss and coworkers? This technique is one of the most powerful techniques I've found. So, hope you enjoyed that.
Vishen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for this great interview. We are very proud to have you in Germany, the 30th of September to the 1st of October. And we are looking forward to meet you there, and I can't wait to welcome you on our stage.
Thank you, Bernhard. Thanks. And thank you guys for tuning in. I can't wait to see you in Munich.